Hello, everyone, and welcome to Minnesota Varsity League's Thursday night stream. My name is Thunder McFadden, and I am joined right now by my man, Quam the Bomb. Quam, how are you tonight, and how excited are you for not one, not two, but three matches of Super Smash tonight?
I'm feeling great tonight, Thunder. Very excited into week 4, really getting into the grit of these games. Some players are starting to figure out their rhythm, starting to figure out what kind of characters they like to play. So I think we're going to start to see some really high quality gameplay from here on out for sure. I really am excited to see a lot of these new players come on to stream today. Haven't seen a ton of these names before, but these players really looking to make a public name for themselves. So, as always, super excited to be here. Super excited to see some Super Smash Brothers.
You know it, Quam, and I could not have put it better myself, to be honest. The new faces, that is the name of the game tonight, okay? Because we have LaFever, who we cast a couple weeks ago. LaFever going down to Same in week 2. I remember we cast that, but that is the only player that's familiar tonight, really. So LaFever, first up, going to be taking on Greeny. Following that is going to be Luther Games taking on God of COD, interestingly enough, Super Smash player who's the God of COD, love that. And then third up is going to be your boy Cheddar taking on Nook. And all of these are new names, aside from LaFever, all of these are new names that we have never seen before on the stream. So super excited, as you said, Quam, super excited to see what these players are bringing to the table, what they have to offer, and how they're going to stack up against the competition that we already have here in SSBU at Minnesota Varsity League, okay? So that is huge stuff. Very excited for that. I think LaFever against Greeny, who, again, we have not seen before. I think LaFever at this point is really going to want to bounce back and have a stream with a dub. I mean, I think that's what we're going to be looking for in game number 1, probably.
Yep, I think that's right. I think LaFever coming off of that unfortunate loss in week 2, probably coming back with some vengeance on stream, and now with some experience on stream, maybe some less nerves than we've seen. A lot of the new players, I know when I was on stream for some of the first times, pretty nervous. I felt like I had to prove to the audience what I was capable of, maybe felt like a little more pressure on me, you know? But going into the stream a second time, I expect big things from LaFever, but we'll have to see what Greeny can pull out too. He is a pit player, and I like pit players a lot because they generally have a balanced play style. They like to pull back some, take it slow, but rush in when they need to. And with LaFever playing Cloud amongst maybe a lot of other characters, we'll see what he decides to pull out tonight. Gonna see a pretty even, balanced, some good back and forth first matchup here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if we do see that Pit versus Cloud, I think you make a great point, right? Two evenly balanced characters, okay, that can use the range but don't have to, right? I think, Cloud, for me, as we've talked about, Cloud with that heavy sword, it's just a little tough. It's a little tough carrying around that Monata like that. But at the end of the day, I'm excited to see what these two players what they're going to select for stages too. When you're playing, Quam, how much does the stage affect your play and even then to your character choice?
So I usually pick a stage around my character. Going into a game, I'm thinking, okay, what character do I want to play first and foremost? And then thinking, what kind of stages are good for my character? So I'm generally considering what kind of a good stage is good for maybe some platform combos, if I can hide underneath a platform, and how much that really plays into a matchup. Generally, stage selection, again, comes down to comfortability at this level, but on certain stages, some characters are generally favored more than others. For example, we've seen Dead Maniac on stream a lot. Final Destination is a great stage for a character like me, Gunner, that Dead Maniac loves to play, just because there's really no room to hide for another character. So in that way, stage picks can be pretty polarizing for some of these characters and players.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, a moment ago I was talking about the Cloud, and I got mixed up with Cloud and Shulk there for just a second. But I think so. Between Cloud, again, obviously some swordplay happening there. Cloud and Pit, what do you think are the stages that will be advantageous to these players, or maybe disadvantageous? Give me your take on that.
I think a lot of stages are good for both of these characters, generally speaking. We'll likely see a Game 1 on Pokemon Stadium 2. Seems to be where a lot of these players like to start their games, and we're going to see what stage they decide to hop into first in this Game 1. Final Destination, I think this is a pretty balanced pick for both players and characters, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, as they get into it, LaFever and Greeny getting after it on the stage, folks. The Blade Beam coming out, and it is huge for LaFever. Taking control of this stage, you love to see it. That is a big, big sword that Cloud is using in the pit. Just kind of struggling to get any sort of action on the stage, and already at 123%. 13 to 123%. This Cloud has laid down the damage and done it brutally so far, Quam.
Oh! Absolutely, and the stock is taken right there. LaFever is exerting so much confidence right now, racking up this damage, getting the kill, waiting to punish some of Greeny's moves, just playing beautifully all around right now.
Fantastic stuff out of LaFever, and Greeny just taking a ton of damage right now. Look at that, every single move, and Greeny already back above 120, 130, and now another stock is gone, and LaFever has not taken any damage. What is going on with this Cloud? The blocks, the counters, the Clim Hazard, it's absolute mayhem out of the Cloud.
This is actually craziness. We are 1 minute into the game, and LaFever has already taken 2 stocks off of Greeny. Greeny's trying to find his way in with some of these side Bs, some of these aerials, but LaFever holding down that center stage, getting a lot of these up B out of shields, these side Bs, racking up just so much damage like Cloud does best.
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing to watch. And is that the final one? Yes, it is. LaFever taking 51.4% damage in total and taking the dub. This Cloud, amazing stuff, swinging that super heavy sword. I mean, what on the earth was that?
You said it best. What on earth indeed. What a strange game 1. LaFever just showing that he is really ready to get back on stream, honestly. Yep. Probably practicing that a little bit, getting ready for this game 1, getting hype, and oh my gosh, that confidence shone through that game, absolutely shined through. Craziness from LaFever in that game 1.
Yeah, I mean, great stuff. And listen, when we saw LaFever last time, it was LaFever v Same, and it was a 1-3, I believe it was. So LaFever putting up a fight in that one. But again, as you said, when you're on stream, and you know this personally from playing on stream, there's a different aspect to it. As a player, it's hard to ignore the chat. It's hard to turn off the Twitch while you're playing, right? Because you want to know what your friends are saying. You want to know what everybody's saying, that sort of thing. But, you know, to be able to tune that out, and for LaFever right now, to be able to come off of losing on stream a couple weeks ago, to come back 2 weeks later with a vengeance here in week number 4 is beautiful to see. That Cloud is doing fantastic work. I mean, listen, there is no, there in that first game, there was no stage control whatsoever for Greeny. There was none to be had. And so when you go to stage number 2, how do you fix that if you're playing the pit, Quam?
I think taking a step back, kind of reevaluating mentally, first and foremost, saying, hey, it's just a game 1.
Yep.
Hop into the next game with a fresh mindset. In terms of stage choice, not really sure. I think we might see something like Kalos that's bigger. Greeny can maybe make use of some of those arrows that Pit has, try to zone out LaFever a little more. Just sit back, get a little more comfortable, because LaFever really just had control of Final Destination, did not let Greeny land, so maybe trying to find a little more space on the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're picking the stage, where are you going?
I'm probably going to Kalos. Again, lots of space, some platforms on the side to run away to if you need to.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think you make a great point about the ranging that Greeny was just like not able to do, because Cloud was always right there. Cloud just found this sweet spot in the middle and not even out to the edges of the stage, and just stayed there, kept landing move after move after move, and Greeny just not able to do anything. Now, okay, so if you are if we go away from talking about the stages here, Kay, Greeny being a pit main, do you think that this pit still has a chance if the stage is right, or do you think that a character switch is maybe in order?
I think the Pit is probably fine. It's a pretty even matchup between Pit and Cloud. Both have relatively decently ranged moves. Both have a projectile. Pretty similar characters. Some fast up close moves too. I would, however, like to see Greeny implement some more gameplay changes. For example, we see LaFever going through a lot of up smashes, up B out of shields whenever Greeny gets close when he's landing from the air. So maybe landing with something like a Nair or a different aerial to try to beat out some of the aggressive options that LaFever is throwing out on the stage.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, those blade beams are connecting, the Clim hazards are connecting. Like, you know, LaFever is just finding a way, and each hit is doing not just like damage; it's doing real damage. You know what I mean? And so we saw it right there. The percentage is just climbing way too fast for Greeny to mount any sort of comeback. And so when we move on to this, you know, stage number 2, I think that we want to see obviously a little more range and a little more motion out of that Pit, but finding the right times to be aggressive against a Cloud that is landing like everything, you know, that's a tall order. It's something that's going to have to happen, but it's really tough. And again, it's a very tall order for a player like this going up against LaFever, who is just on it tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it best. LaFever is on it tonight. A lot of that confidence showing through, whether it's through aggressive options, quick movements. LaFever knows what he's doing tonight, and that's really good to see, especially coming off of that 1-3 loss from Same 2 weeks ago. I do think, however, that Greeny has a chance of pulling this one back if, like we talked about, he pulls back, gets a little more comfortable, maybe has a stage pick choice, but we'll have to see in this game too. I'm really interested to see. Do you think we will see a character switch out of Greeny today?
I don't know. I mean, I just like, you know, Pit is not my favorite character to play because I like to play a little more aggressively, right? I like to kind of be getting into the mix. So Pit being kind of, you know, one where it's like you've got a lot of range and you've got some decent defensive moves in that, like I don't know, you know, I really think that you've got to find places where LaFever is not paying attention. You got to find places to get in and land moves where there's maybe some end lag or whatever it might be. As these two get into it, we're on PS2 again, yet again. LaFever and Greeny fighting for control of the stage, and Greeny getting into it now. I think playing a little more aggressively than we saw last time.
I think Greeny definitely had a bit of a mindset change, maybe being a little more confident. However, unfortunately, not finding these hits right off the bat. Gets a grab there, resets the neutral position a little bit, but LaFever still keeping the foot on the gas, not relenting, waits for Greeny to go for the side B, so patient, and gets a huge punish with that side B. Beautiful stuff.
Absolutely nasty. Look at that. Oh, Greeny gonna connect a little bit more here, but still at 140% already, Quam. LaFever just continuing to control this stage. Greeny gonna come over and get a couple of swipes with that sword, gonna connect. And oh, in and out of shield, both of these players, and bam, there goes Greeny for a stock. Wow, great stuff out of LaFever here.
Definitely great stuff out of LaFever, but I'm going to give some credit to Greeny here too. 51% is on LaFever already. Greeny showing a little more of what he had than in the game 1. Resetting the neutral position a little bit here. Greeny really favoring these side Bs, but LaFever just knowing when to shield, and again, being pretty patient even though he's still throwing out a lot of aggressive options.
Most certainly, as again, we have a nice throw from Greeny, 66% apiece, but LaFever up by a stock, coming through, swinging that heavy sword so brutally. This LaFever doing great work, and again connecting with Greeny, sending this Pit just flying repeatedly, and another stock for LaFever. It is 1-3. Sheesh.
1-3 already. We're about 2 minutes into this game now, but still, LaFever is still racking up so much damage and so fast. Swinging that big sword around, dealing a lot of damage as Cloud does best, especially with that side B. Deals about 20% if you connect all 5 hits. Pretty effective move, and LaFever just doing so beautifully with this Cloud.
So good. I mean, just every single movement with purpose, every frame utilized perfectly. The blade beam comes across, will connect, just connects repeatedly so many times. Oh man, that's it. LaFever taking another dub, and it is now match point, Quam. Look at this Cloud go.
2-0 already. Very quick 2-0 so far. I don't think we're going to see LaFever relent whatsoever. And we already know LaFever's got a lot of confidence right now, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, just absolutely like just stanking of confidence at this point. You can see it on the stages, really. Like I said it there too, and you touched on it. The amount of confidence, right? And the precision with which LaFever is playing. Uh it's next level. It's definite improvement from 2 weeks ago when we saw LaFever on stream. Great stuff. Obviously, we've got a new opponent and that, but LaFever looks fantastic. And those, that it, like you said, the side B, that cross slash connecting over and over and over. It's all about positioning for LaFever, and the positioning is nearly perfect.
Yeah, for sure. I really liked what you said about the precision and the positioning, because that's exactly what LaFever is doing best. You don't
Mhm.
see LaFever missing a ton of these moves, even if Cloud can throw them out pretty quickly, because he's doing such a good job of tracking Greeny. Greeny's falling through the sky at a relatively predictable angle for LaFever, and he's able to punish it with an up smash, up out of shield, not really missing a lot of these moves, and that's part of the reason why we're seeing such fast games, too.
Yeah, certainly. And you made a great point right there, right? This pit is coming back to the stage in such a predictable way. It's as if LaFever has it planned, not only in the moment, but 1 and 2 steps ahead, right? When you're so good with the cloud and you're able to get pit continuously thrown left, right, off of the stage, that pit only has so many ways to recover. And when you figure out the patterns and when you figure out how Greeny likes to recover, it makes it a lot easier to jump up and get a side B, to jump and do an up B all the way through. We know that Clem Hazard is nasty, and up and down, boom, right? You're laying down some just nasty damage within a matter of seconds, right? And it's just happening right there. So I think Greeny is got a really, a kind of a big wall in front of him, and that is LaFever's ability not only to control the cloud, but also to control the stage and how this pit is coming back to the stage.
Yeah, for sure. Greeny kind of falling back onto the stage in a relatively predictable angle, like we said, not really deciding to drift off stage, but rather right to center stage, and LaFever just catching it almost every time.
You said it. And how do you like this stage for this matchup compared to PS2?
I don't really like this stage for Greeny. For LaFever, it is great because he's going to have even less space to have to try to maneuver around to track Greeny. And we already see 20 seconds into the game, big cross slash Greeny not even dealing damage to LaFever yet.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, and now that we're on this stage, which makes it even tougher on Greeny, right? To recover, to get in, to lay down any damage. Now only 21% to Greeny's 60. Every single slash, every single move coming through from LaFever is not only connecting, but it is laying down significant damage. Oh my, 111%!
Such big hits from LaFever, and keeping Greeny in the air too. I don't think we've seen Greeny on the ground very much this game.
No, and you said it about the stage. One platform in the middle as opposed to the two on the side almost makes it way tougher for Greeny to recover or get anywhere near this stage. That's going to be a nice connection, but still down by not one but two stocks is Greeny. Coming in with another connection on LaFever, finally putting some damage on this cloud. Oh, but is it too little too late? We don't know. The cross slash comes. Oh man, beautiful stuff. Blade Beam will not connect, but boy, this cloud just wants to end this and end it now.
You said it, LaFever, hungry for this win, can feel the 3-0 in his blood. We're going to have to see if he has enough to take it, gets Greeny off stage once more, decides to sit back, be a little patient. I really like that. Decides to punish Greeny with that up B out of shield, and just sitting there again.
Yep, and the Blade Beam is what's going to do it. Just sends Greeny sailing up to nearly 140%. And this cloud is just waiting patiently. Says, yeah, a little quick up B will do it maybe, but not quite. Just wants to end this thing. The cross slash, will it do it? Yes! That is that, and LaFever will take the dub. What a performance.
What a performance indeed. This cloud exerting so much swagger. I'm really happy to see this from LaFever, especially coming off of a few losses. Must feel really, really good to win a lot of these games just so dominantly.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly. And this right here was just so good. We saw that combo a couple of times, and I think that as much as it's a beautiful play right here in this circumstance, we saw that up B into that neutral B combo, right? Because the blade beam is the neutral B, am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. So when you go and you have that combo up B to neutral B and you see it as a pattern, right? It's working against Greeny right now. However, all your competition is watching this and seeing that that's a combo that you favor, right? And even though it worked here, will it continue to work in the future? I mean, either way, what was working today for LaFever was working and was working consistently, Quam.
Absolutely. Just so consistently, never relenting. At the very end there, I would like to give some credit to Greeny, however, for landing some of those side Bs and finally keeping LaFever in the air a little bit. So I think that's a really good takeaway for Greeny to go into next week and say, hey, maybe that's something I did well, something I want to look into, maybe continue doing with Pit. But LaFever, foot on the gas 100% of the time. Unreal stuff. What a good first set here.
Yeah, I mean, really, really, really fantastic. And I think you said it perfectly for Greeny at the end there, right? In game number 3, you saw some connections, right? There were some movements that were, I mean, some connections out of shield that were good for Greeny, I thought. And then getting in, and you said landing a couple of those side Bs, which didn't happen really at all in the first 2 games. So again, for any of these players, win or lose, they have got this tape to go back to, look, analyze, where can I do better? What can I change? And how can I move forward in this season? We're only halfway through the season here, folks. What an amazing game number 1 on the day. LaFever winning over Greeny. Folks, when we come back, we're going to have Luther Games taking on God of COD here on the Thursday night stream at MNVL. See you shortly.